the graph of the SBS costs, which is sort of, sorry, I say if you look at it, I mean, it's an internal document that I'm sure we could pull out if Oscar were interested. But basically, what you get is a line that goes like that. So the spend from the HRA on the SBS contract has gone down dramatically, but also the SBS costs have gone down, but there's still that gap on the deficit, and that's for a number of reasons. And partly it's the fixed costs, because each element has only got a very small margin on it. So there's there's part of that, but there's also a lot of work that the team, since the team came into the Environment Department and we pushed it into the Trade and Services piece, there's an awful lot of work the team have looked at where the cost pressures are and how you can pull back. So we've done a lot of work around stock that's been pulling back the cost that we're carrying on stock. We're looking at, have we got the right pay and productivity system that incentivises staff properly but is actually affordable. We're looking at the overheads that we're carrying around our fleet, around our, we've got very old-fashioned offices. Have we got all of those sorts of overheads right? And we know that there's work that we need to do. So, as Councillor Colley's saying, we've got a massive improvement actually over the last 18 months from where it was, both in terms of quality and in terms of cost, but there's still a way to go. And there is also the need to make sure that once you've got your fixed costs covered, then you're able, actually the marginal cost of each service becomes much cheaper and you do get those economies. So I think there's a long way for SBS to go. But we also need as well, and I think we've been sort of left behind by technology, partly because of warm, dry, safe, and partly because of the way that the housing stock in the borough is changing, so that we have, in some cases, we've got skills that we don't actually need so much of because our housing repairs aren't throwing up those problems and we don't have enough skills in other areas. And part of the answer to your question is we need to be more flexible about having the right skills so that we can minimise our subcontracting as well, and we're actually delivering more in-house with the right mix of skills. So there is a lot of work still to do, but the exciting thing about doing this in a one council way is that as well as having our finance director as a fantastic conscience on all of this, we're working really closely with housing colleagues so that we can really make sure that what we are delivering is tailored to what the housing side needs.
And Martin, dare I suggest that the report that this committee did, which you were on, I think, a few years ago on procurement, might have had some influence over the thinking here. But before I come to Kieran, I think you had another question, Martin.
I did. Of course, I'm drawing a direct comparison between the TMO model and its contracting of private sector services and the councils. And I'm trying to understand why there's such a vast difference in the outcomes of that experience. And whilst I concur and understand, as I said, I'm at the sink, so I'm not caught up with any of these papers.
Worry, Martin,
but it seems pretty obvious to me, as soon as you started talking, these big contracts, local authority contracts, don't seem to work as efficiently as a moderately sized TMO contract might work. It seems that all the empirical evidence suggests that it's so, and I'm wondering why experts over there haven't arrived at that same observation, and if there are some inherent reasons for taking this course. Is it that we want to protect jobs and are prepared to subsidise those jobs and therefore pay a slightly higher price to deliver that service and possibly ensure quality? Is it that the council's internal structure is such that to make the radical changes, which I think you're excited about, might be too radical at this stage, and this is but an intermediary step on a much longer vision for the future? Or is it simply that it's the same old, in 4 years' time we might have a cause to do another radical change because it didn't work.
I mean, I hope it's not going to be same old.
Mark.
And I think I'm reminded really of the point that Kieran made about that change to having things in-house versus having a contract, because it won't really quite be like just having SBS as a contractor for housing. It will be an in-house service, and it will be about having a different relationship as well. I hope it will mean that in housing they won't need to have so many people inspecting the inspectors, and that we'll be able to run a much more efficient service. I think one of the things the TMOs experience, being much smaller, is having that very close working relationship with some of their contractors who are smaller contractors, people who are, it's perhaps the same person coming to do the repairs again and again, who becomes much more familiar with the estate, can do a job more quickly and efficiently, has the right stuff because they are always working on those homes. And that's something that we are getting to with SBS. We've moved really to having them based much more patch-like, and I noticed when I went out with one of our plumbers that he was very familiar. You know, before we even went in a building, he'd say, "Oh, I know what this will be," and he would know how to get to access all the various pieces that you need to access because he was always going to those blocks. And I think that's one of the other things that we'll experience by bringing in-house, by having our in-house people rather than subcontractors who might not be familiar with those blocks. I do think you'll get better service, and as we are able to drive those efficiencies will accrue directly to the authority rather than in profits to a private contractor. So I think it's not like having another big contract. It's about having our own housing repairs service, albeit that we'll also be looking to then go out and sell those services to other people and make a profit on those in order to reinvest them in our public services.
Duncan, you wanted to comment?
Yeah, I would just add to that. Well, I mean, conscience doesn't appear on the balance sheet, but I think what is very easy for us to forget at Southwark is three unique factors. One is that we're right in the middle of London, and I don't think we've ever been able to compute either through our in-house or through our external services what the real impact financially and from a service quality point of view that actually, what tensions that creates. The scale of Southwark, you know, third biggest social landlord in the country with a very demanding set of residents, customer base, quite reasonably, creates a tension for us that I don't think you find anywhere else in London, let alone the country actually. And the third factor is our stock. And clearly we've put a huge amount of investment over recent years in making it decent and warm, dry and safe. And that's, I think, helped to transform the repair service, and that's certainly one factor as we move into the new world that we need to exploit, in terms of we're moving from a better base than probably we have done before. But those three factors combined, I think, create a bit of a conundrum for us in terms of what is it that we're trying to provide, which we could then compare with others. To say we're doing it well, badly, more expensively, cheaper, it's really, really hard, and I haven't got the solution to that particular question. But the one thing that we do know is that our external contractors can't cope with what we have either. So that's the need to do something different, and eyes wide shut, and the next 3 months' work that goes into the March Cabinet report will hopefully give some of those forward-looking and those current issues. From a TMO point of view as well, I mean, we have some good experiences of